Hello, everyone. Robert Yazbek here with Team Yazbek at Coldwell Banker. Excited to have Chad James with us today.
Hi, everybody.
Chad, I've known for about 16 years from when he was consulting with my wife for the Yamp Valley Autism Program, just as they were getting established. Chad is a small business coach, local leader, thought leader, entrepreneur, community builder, and one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Thanks, man.
Of course, he's helped countless businesses and individuals in good times and in bad. And he recently started a live Zoom happy hour with Eddie Knold here locally to talk about our interconnectedness in these times. Thanks for joining me, Chad.
Hey, Robert. Thanks, man. I appreciate you bringing up 16. I didn't realize we'd known each other for 16 years. And my first vivid memory of you, I think was actually before you and Diane were married. Because I remember a different last name for her. But we actually were hunting in a neighborhood for a young autistic man that we had misplaced. I remember, going around trying to find him. He's non-communicative. So I didn't realize that was such a long time ago. So wow. Yeah, great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
That's a wild memory, man.
For sure.
That's how long it's been. First and foremost, man, how are you and how's this affecting you and your family?
Yeah, I tell everybody, and I don't want to sound trite about it, but I'm kind of great. I was telling Eddie, who happens to be a psychotherapist, and he's my psychotherapist as well. I was telling him the other day that I'm kind of having like survivor's guilt around this, like this. Notwithstanding the fact that my wife is currently upstairs on a conference call on Zoom, and my son is over here in his room on a classroom Zoom, and we're all trying to use bandwidth and all those kind of like weird things. Yeah. It actually feels really good right now to be able to be in a place where we can serve people. And I think there's just a lot of new humanity that's coming out of it. So I feel really pretty good. I'm getting a couple workouts in a day. I'm staying off the news. I'm making sure that I am, doing things that are kind of good for my brain versus bad for my brain. Like this is one of them. I just had a birthday, and I'll show this in here. But I'm actually working on a gigantic Lego set right now that my wife gave me for my birthday. So that's actually, nice. It's a lot of fun. So I'm actually feeling pretty darn good right now, and I'm energized. I think that a lot of positive things happen when big crises happen, whether it was the Spanish flu in 1918 or the Great Depression or 9/11 or any of those types of things. I think we see a lot of great things happen, and it energizes me to look at the opportunity.
No question. That's great, man. I love that perspective. I know, not everybody has that perspective, but it's a good one to have and to get out there too. That's awesome. So how's this affecting your business and your industry as a small business coach?
Yeah, so I have clients kind of all over the place in the United States, and I've got some in Steamboat. I've got some in Las Vegas and California and Georgia. I actually have one in New York, and actually in the city. And by and large, how has it affected my business? There have been some changes. First and foremost, I'm doing a lot more of this. I'm doing, spending a lot more time on Zoom calls and phone calls than I normally would. Specifically, my clients tend to be small business clients, so I'm really walking them through the payroll protection plan, connecting them with people like my amazing accountant Tina, so that we can understand how we walk through that process, and just kind of getting that first kind of triage done. But I think we're kind of over that right now. Or like moving through that, most of the folks who have had to go through some form of layoff have, if they haven't done that program already or haven't done their layoffs, have begun the process and know what they're going to do based on certain markers. We moved all of our people to home. All the businesses that I work with have moved their people to home if they can. Some of my businesses are essential businesses. Yeah. And so their life has changed kind of drastically, in terms of how they go about their day-to-day business and what they're doing to protect their folks. But I think once all this protection has been done, I think that people are really looking for, in particular, the entrepreneurial amongst us are really looking for the kind of the silver linings and the opportunity in this. And so, I have a client that works in real estate, buying real estate. They're kind of wouldn't call them a hedge fund, but they're a relatively large real estate investment group. And they're looking at the opportunity right now. They're looking at, where can we buy, where can we move things? Of course, they've taken all of the folks that have leases from them, and they've either removed CAM from those leases or something. But I think by and large, for me as in my business, it's okay. I'm worried about my clients. I'm worried about their businesses. My business, I feel pretty blessed to be in an advisory capacity, somebody who's probably relatively needed right now.
No question about it. Yeah. It seems like there's, two groups, right? People that, don't have jobs and don't know what to do with themselves. And then people that are in huge demand and, are needed more than ever. So,
right.
That's great. So what are you doing to cope and pivot yourself personally or professionally?
Yeah. First, personally, is I'm doing the things that we're all saying that we should be doing, but I think some of us are just saying that we're doing them. So I'm turning the news off. I get my news basically one time per day. I just subscribe to I think it's right now, it's the New York Times Daily Briefing, and it just kind of gives me the highlights. And if there's something I want to dig into from there, I'll dig into it. That's fine. But I'm really not watching daily news, nightly news. I'm certainly not watching CNN or Fox. But if I do get a little bit uptight, maybe I'll go look at CNN and Fox, and I'll realize that someplace in the middle is good. So that's one thing, is I'm really limiting the stuff that I'm putting into my the media that I'm putting in, but I'm really increasing the positive media that I'm putting in. So I am strongly listening to positive podcasts right now. I'm a big fan of Rich Roll right now, Andy Frisella right now, big fan of a guy named Ed Milet right now. All these guys putting out like super positive stuff. And so I'm really trying to put as much positivity in my brain as I can. And then finally, I am just serving my ass off. I am just trying to just give as much as I possibly can of the gifts and talents that I have. And there's just an amazing peace that comes with helping others. And so I'm trying to find as many opportunities to do that as I can. Some people make masks. Some people deliver, groceries to their neighbors. I'm just trying to put as much positivity out there as I can and help people in their businesses.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
You got it, man.
We talked about, two different groups kind of people right now. So as a small business coach, what advice do you have for people watching, without a job? And then what advice do you have for people watching whose jobs just got more demanding?
Yeah. So the first is, I think self-care is ridiculously important right now. Self-care is always important. It was important before. And if you weren't a worker outer before and you aren't now, shame on you. You need to be working out, doing something. And by the way, that workout can be as simple as a walk or something along those lines. But I think that doing some self-care to add, some of the positive chemicals back into your body, I think is really important right now. It's very tempting right now when we're jobless in particular to stream and to watch the Tiger King and do those, just over and over again, and I think that can be really damaging for us. So my big thing is, let's get our brains active, do a Lego kit, make a puzzle, spend some time with your family, spend some time appropriately with your friends, whatever that looks like, But I think that people are also, we're getting into this kind of period of overkill, like I FaceTimed every human being I knew in the first week of this thing. Like I told my wife the other day, I'm like, I don't need to have another FaceTime or Zoom for a while, you know? So I think the other thing is, I don't think we need to overkill it right now. If you were not like an over communicator before, don't be an over communicator now, but keep your connections alive. And the self-care is a big thing. I'm also a big meditation fan. I meditate every morning. I switch between silent meditations, just simple breathing based meditations, and guided meditations using either the app that I'm using right now is called Insight Timer. Spending a good amount of time on that. I set it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, really trying to read and put positive stuff in my brain.
Yeah.
Right now, one of the books that I'm recommending to pretty much everybody is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, who was famously the author of a book called Think and Grow Rich, which a lot of entrepreneurs have read.
Sure.
But Outwitting the Devil is really about how we turn some of this faith piece on, like this abundance piece. Like, there is enough and we will be okay. So,
yeah.
And then for the people that have just become overwhelmed, what I would say is, a little bit of the opposite is take that time to kind of rest and reflect and understand that you do not, first and foremost, you, dear nurse, doctor, grocery worker, whatever it might be, you cannot solve COVID-19 personally.
Right.
And so take that off your brain and take that pressure off and just really get focused on the present, what it is that you can do right here, because, all the fear that we have is made up of two things, right? It's made up of past guilt. Oh, what did I not do to prepare appropriately?
Mm-hmm.
And anxiety about the future. What could happen out here? Well, here's the thing. We don't know what could happen out here. There's no idea.
Right.
And so for me to say, I think this could last 9 months, or I think this could be 2 months, or for me to be cavalier and say, let's just go about our business, that's really not helpful. I think what's helpful is to get right here, right in the present, and to just focus on the things that we can do right as we're doing them. And then maybe more importantly than anything, really get focused on your connections with the people closest to you. Like you and I talked before this recording. I think there are going to be new relationships that occur because of this. And I think that they're going to happen because I think we're going to start, accidentally stratifying into like this group of people who think the world's going to end, and this group of people who are like, okay, wonder what that looks like, Yeah. And can we make that kind of fun? Mad Max was a sweet movie. How do I build my truck? And so I think that continuing to connect with those that are closest to you, in particular, and looking to build forward-thinking and opportunity-based relationships, because it's really futile to try and decide where we think this thing's going to go, And I think that we just don't have any control over that. And so all we have control over is our personal attitude, our faith around what we believe to be good. And that's it. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Actually, I think it might've been Eddie. It was either Eddie or another friend. And we were talking about, coronavirus and what could happen and predictions. This is maybe 2 weeks ago. And I said to him, gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if we're sitting here worrying about this and an asteroid just came and took us out right now? And we spent our last 90 minutes on Earth talking about something that we just have zero control over.
Right.
And that really kind of changed my mindset around it is, hey, we can't really focus on what could happen.
Yeah.
We need to be good stewards. We need to be safe. We need to be good neighbors, all of that kind of stuff. But we can't just figure that we're all going to die.
Right.
And if we do all die, we all die.
Yeah, exactly. How are you going to spend your last days and moments on Earth, right? If that's the plan.
Right, man. Right.
Good deal, man. That's awesome. Great insight. Great advice.
Sure.
So locally, man, what can people do to help the Steamboat and Yampa Valley community? What do you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's, I think the idea of think global, act local applies more now than ever. That was probably like a 1991 slogan or something.
Yeah.
But I think it applies more now than ever. And so global to me is like Steamboat Springs community.
Right.
And I think local is literally your neighborhood, your family. I think the best thing we can do is just be great neighbors right now. Be considerate, understand that everybody's going to handle this differently. We go to the grocery store once a week right now, which is kind of awesome, by the way. Maybe that's what we should do anyways. But we go to the grocery store once a week. And I went to the grocery store and I needed to get a prescription, you know, and there were some young ladies behind me, maybe teenagers, and they just were having like a really hard like time trying to figure out like, how do I do this physical distancing thing? How, you know, and I think that just what we have to do in that case is just give some grace, you know.
Right.
And the other thing I would say, stop taking pictures of your neighbors and posting them to Facebook because they're not socially distanced appropriately, and that's just that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know, we're all trying our best as we go through this, and I think it's locally in particular. I don't think anybody's taking a cavalier approach to this, you know. And if they are, it's a small minority, and there's also a small minority that haven't been out of their houses since March 1st.
That's right.
You know, and so, but I think those are small minorities, and so I would say smile, wave, be nice, do the appropriate social distancing and cleansing things that you need to do, and otherwise get on with your life.
Awesome, man. I love it. Good deal. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll put links to where you can find Chad in the comments, and everybody have a great day. Stay safe, stay home, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Robert. See you guys.
Cheers.